Okay, in the last video, we created this interface called movie repository that extends from Mongo repository. Now this Mongo repository, as we saw, it will provide us the methods like find all, insert, save all, and things like that. Now this is an interface, right? So we need an implementation for this interface. But the best part is we don't have to worry about the implementation. Spring Boot is going to take care of the implementation of this movie repository. Now, what we need to worry is basically use movie repository to get the data and then pass it to this controller. So what we will do is we will create. So the way this works is movie repository is going to get the data from the database and then store it, right? It's going to talk to MongoDB and then get the data. Now, in order to get this data to the controller, what we'll do is we'll first create something called as a service that is going to have this movie repository object, and this service in turn will give the data to the movie controller. So the way we are going to do it is we'll first create this service. We'll have movie repository object, and then that is going to talk to the database and then get the data. And then in turn from this movie service, we'll pass that data to this movie controller. So in order to do this, first we'll create a package called service. Okay, and inside this service, we'll create a first we'll create an interface, okay, called movie service that is going to have a couple of methods that we are going to define. So we'll say since we need the movies, list of movies. Let's say we want to get all the movies that is present in the database. So I'll say get movies. And let's say I want to get all the movies based on a search string. Okay, so I'll say find movie based on the user provided search string. Okay, so we'll import this and we'll import list as well. Now this is an interface. So let's create a class to implement this interface called movie service implementation. And this is going to implement movie service. So this is going to complain. So we'll add the unimplemented methods. Now, so inside this class, we'll create this movie repository and we're going to say mark it with this annotation auto-wired. So that we can use it inside this class, right? So we'll take this movie repository object, and then here, since we need to get the list of movies, the way to do it is return movie repository dot find all. That's it. So this is going to get us the list of movies. So we'll worry about this implementation later, okay? Because this is the list of movies that we want to get based on this search string. Okay. Now that we have provided the implementation for this one, so we'll go to our movie controller. We will remove all these movies that we hard coded. It was only one movie. So what we'll do is similar to movie repository in service, what we'll do is we'll create movie service here. Okay, and then we'll auto wire it. So this is called as dependency injection actually. Okay, now we are going to use this movie service, and then this has the method called get movies. So that is going to return us the list of movies, right? So basically whatever movies is present in the database is going to be returned back to the user. Okay, so before we do this, there's one thing that I need to check. So let's remove the unimplemented methods, unused imports, sorry. So in our movie model, the thing is we didn't annotate this with @id because this is, so this tells Spring Boot that this ID variable is going to be unique for each movie, right? So this is one thing. And the next thing is, if you look at our data, we have a field called release date, which is missing from this list. So we'll add that also. All right, I have created this field called release date and also added it as part of the constructor here, and also created the getter and setters for this release date. Now let's get to our controller. So here we have the slash movies endpoint, and this is going to use the movie service to get the movies. So this get movies is defined in this movie service implementation, and which is in turn going to use the movie repository and then get the data from the database and then return it. So now we have everything. So let's run this application now. All right. Okay, there seems to be an issue. So movie service requires a bean of type movie service. Okay, so let's get to our movie service. So thing is, in our movie service implementation, so we need to tell Spring Boot that this is a service. So for that, what we need to do is we need to annotate this with @service annotation. Okay, so let's save that. Now let's try to run it. All right, so this is running on port 8080. So let's go there, localhost 8080, and then slash movies endpoint, right? Awesome, we don't see anything. So what's happening? So let's stop this application here. So the thing is, we need to tell Spring Boot that. So if we go to our movie model, we need to create this add document, and we need to use this annotation and tell Spring Boot what is the collection that we want to use. So our database is movies.db, right? So if we go to our application properties, our database is movies.db, but we didn't tell which collection inside this database to use for Spring Boot, right? So we'll do that now. So we'll tell the collection is equal to whatever we see here, movie, right? Okay, I'll name it movie here, and now let's rerun the application. Okay, so this is running on port 8080 now, and let's rerun it. All right, we have the data. So whatever data that we see here is present here, right? Okay, now in the next video, we'll see how we can do the search based on a string. So thank you.